everyone. I'm Anna DeBard. I am the head teacher for Applied Music. This is my second year here at Carmel, and it's awesome. I love Applied Music. A little bit about the course, in case you didn't know, it's a pretty small course on purpose. It's meant to be very similar to a college level course, where a lot of it depends on student-led motivation and making sure that they're working outside of class to be ready for performances. So the goal of the course is to end the year with a binder or a book full of solos that they can use for musical theater auditions. So if they're interested even in community theater or something beyond that, professional theater, they have resources and have practiced them with educators to be able to perform those to the best of their ability. So that's the point of the class. We are currently in our first round of performances for Unit 1. Unit 1 is Jazz Age Great American Songbook, and it's been great. We go through a cycle of presenting about the Jazz Age Great American Songbook, or whatever unit we're doing, where I basically give them some information, show them some videos, and then they find songs from that era that they think could work for them, and then we choose one for them to perform for the class. Then they have a work day at school and some work days at home, which are pretty lenient. We're here for them if they need us. We can play things out for them, play the accompaniment of their song, things like that, but most of it is on their own, and we do tell them they have to learn the basics of the song. So they need to know the rhythms, know the notes, have the words at least mostly memorized, so that when they come to class next, we coach with them. And we do that individually. It's usually from 7 to 10 minutes, somewhere in there, depending on the class size. So they will meet with either Mrs. Coons or I. Privately, it's in our main classroom, but it's one-on-one. And that's where we'll go through the song, make sure that every basic part of it is in place. So all the notes are right, everything is right. And then we work on more of the fine details, right? So how are you going to portray the character? How are you going to add some interest with the dynamics? Are you pronouncing things correctly? Things like that, which is why it's so important for them to take the time to really learn the song on their own first, so that we can get to those details and actually get to what makes it musical theater instead of just a vocal performance. So that's the first little step that we do, and then the next class that we see them are performances. And we have a professional accompanist come in. His name is Mr. Wenning, John Wenning, and he comes in and sight reads and does their songs for them, and they perform for the class. The grading rubric, there's two of them. So there's the actual grades that they would get for each performance, where it is all about their participation, their preparedness, improvement, attitude, so things that they can control, right? If they are actively working to improve and to grow, they will be fine. They will pass the class as long as they are participating, turning things in when they need to, things like that. I want to make it very clear that the grades are not dependent on how well they perform. Of course, they need to be prepared, they need to be memorized, they need to show that they are ready to perform, but everyone is still learning, everyone is continually growing, so we don't base grades on vocal tone or dynamics or things like that. So the other rubric that you would see in the syllabus is just a performance feedback rubric. So we fill that out, and it's just for their own guide, their own feedback, and we will give them in person right after their performance some of our critiques, things that they did well, and then some things maybe that they can improve on for the next performance. But that is not reflected in their grades. That's very important to me, and I think to the rest of the staff here, that we want it to be a growth class, not a perfection class. So that's a little bit how grades are set up. And all of this can be found in the syllabus, and the syllabus the kids got the first day, but you can find them under classroom resources on Canvas. So I'm just kind of going through the syllabus and talking about all of those things. So that's how grades kind of look and work. There are some other written assignments, but they're usually not very long, and they don't have as much weight to them. The weight is mostly in the performances and in the improvement and things like that. Fees, there is a $50 fee for Applied Music that goes to all of their sheet music. All of it is coming from either the sheet music binders that we have here at school, the books we have at school, or if they need to find it online, they can buy it through our account on musicnotes.com. So all of that goes to them. The $50 goes towards paying for their professional accompanist. It goes to working with some professionals. We'll have some Zoom calls with some actual professional musical theater people, so people that are living in New York doing the musical theater life on Broadway. They'll be doing some Zoom calls with them, so just some really cool things that they're getting for those fees. And of course, if you need financial assistance, totally fine. Reach out to me and I'll give you that contact info at the end. So that's what those fees will cover. I already talked about grades. So quizzes and exams, they'll have a quiz each unit. And it's just based on that presentation from the very beginning of that unit that I do. And usually it's pretty straightforward as long as they study that presentation. And it's okay. If they don't feel super confident in that, it's not a huge weight on their grade. They will be fine. Their semester 1 and 2 exam usually involve a little bit of a performance where they perform 2 of their previously performed songs in their book. There's a few projects that they go through, and then I've already talked about those rubrics at the end of the syllabus. So that's the syllabus. If you have any questions on that, let me know. As far as Canvas, all of the assignments, all of the agendas, everything should be found in modules, learning modules. And then any of the resources, so things like those rubrics, the syllabus, rep cards, things that they might need, are in classroom resources at the bottom of modules. So all of that can be found on that one page, and hopefully that's pretty straightforward. But if not, of course, let me know. In class, thankfully there's only I think 10 in one class and 14 in the other. So they're relatively small classes, so we're able to space them out really well. So even when they're practicing on their own, they spread out around the room. They're always at least 6 feet apart, and we're masked even for performances. So all of that, we try our very best to be safe there and to make sure that we're distancing from, not only student to student, but student to teacher and vice versa. So that's kind of nice because they're smaller classes. Then I think I already talked about some expectations, but just as a reminder, those virtual days are usually going to be work days. Sometimes they'll be small assignments, but I do intend for them to work on their songs on their own. Usually there's a small little blurb that they have to send me just to say that they have worked that day, but really it's on them. And if they really want to improve, they will work on their song. And if they don't, it will be reflected in their performance and we'll be able to tell. So that's my expectation for virtual days, and I know that's hard because that is very student motivated, but that's part of the course and it is very collegiate that way. As a parent, you can reach me either through email, it's just adebard, ADEBARD, @ccs.k12.in.us. And you can also reach me by my cell phone, which I think is on the syllabus, but in case it's not, it's 812-369-6802. I'm here if you need me. I will be happy to answer any of your questions. And I hope that your student enjoys the course. It's a great course. It's a lot of fun. And so I hope to share all of those fun things that we do with all of you. Thanks.